Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Thank you all for joining in the webinar series of celebrating the month of open source with us. If you are following our series, we have covered introduction to open source, dwelled deep into APM's ecosystem, and shared valuable pointers on how to manage your open source projects efficiently. And if you have missed them, don't worry. You can rewatch them through our YouTube channel. For today's session, we have a special guest with us, Christian Broman. Christian is a senior software engineer at Ionic. He is an open source and open standards advocate, a cross-project council member at OpenJS Foundation representing WebdriverIO. He is a driving force behind WebdriverIO project, and if you like and are using WebdriverIO for your automation, he is the guy to thank. In today's session, Christian will be taking us on a journey on how to become an open source hero by contributing to WebdriverIO. We will explore the world of WebdriverIO and highlighting the importance of contributing to this thriving open source project. I hope you are as excited as I am for today's session. Without further ado, let me introduce Christian Broom. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Spars. Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone on the online, wherever you are. I know it's late in India right now, so thanks for everyone who has joined me there. Welcome to this session. I'm happy to speak today on helping folks to get started contributing to WebdriverIO, a thing that I've been doing for almost 10 years now, I believe. It has been a long time, and it has been a fun ride since I started. And I learned a lot, and I think this is a great opportunity for everyone who wants to get started in open source, and it's a great first project to start contributing on. I think Spars did a good job introducing myself. I'm a senior software engineer at Ionic, and working on a front-end framework called Stencil there that helps you to build web components for your products and use it across all your frameworks. But as a side, I'm doing a lot of open source work as well, mainly around the WebDriver project and the WebDriver ecosystem. In today's session, we're going to look into the WebdriverIO package, how it's structured, how it is working. We look into the development flow, which means that how you can get started contributing to WebdriverIO, what you need to have set up, things like that. We need to speak about governance. When you contribute to open source, it's important to have this aspect in mind as well, how governance means how a project operates. And there's something to say about that in WebdriverIO here. And then we get you going, starting contributing, how you're going to pick up your first issue, and how you can get more involved. Then it's up to you to get started. Starting with a project overview. WebdriverIO is a WebDriver-based automation framework. That means that it uses the WebDriver automation protocol to mainly the WebDriver automation protocol to automate browsers or mobile devices. Before we start digging into the details of that, I want to make sure that we understand how that actually works, how browsers are being automated. So what WebdriverIO does here on the left side is pretty much just providing you a programmable interface in JavaScript using Node.js that you can use to write your scripts, write your automation test code. And what WebdriverIO does is it sends the request out to a driver or to a server that will execute the command on behalf of WebdriverIO. So there are browsers that can be automated through WebdriverIO. There can be mobile devices that can be automated through WebdriverIO. And the way it works is that WebdriverIO sends a request to a browser driver through an HTTP protocol. That's how WebDriver works. And the driver itself then uses any kind of arbitrary protocol they use to make it automation happening in the browser. So for Chrome, it uses Chrome driver. For Firefox, it uses Gecko driver. For mobile, it is mainly using the Appium project, which is great. And then you can use things like the Selenium Grid to then run all of that in parallel. I was saying that WebDriver was mainly using the WebDriver protocol. When it comes to Chrome automation, we also use the Puppeteer. So you can choose two of these protocols, either the WebDriver protocol or Puppeteer, which uses the Chrome DevTools protocol. The Chrome DevTools protocol is a protocol that is only for Chrome, that can introspect the Chrome browser much more deeply as WebDriver could do. So it's a way you could escape the WebDriver protocol for some use cases that look more into the introspection side of the browser. WebDriver itself is kind of like separated in 3 layers. There's the protocol package, the WebdriverIO as a library, and the framework. The protocol package is basically a very non-opinionated HTTP client for sending WebDriver requests. You can use the package through installing it via npm, and it's mainly for people that want to build their own automation project. They have been a bunch of those kind of, I think Classy.js are one of those people, one of the projects that use WebDriver as like the root and the base layer for their own automation frameworks. Then there's WebdriverIO that as a package itself comes a little bit, it's like it sits on top of the WebDriver package, but provides you a more opinionated API. So it has things like an element object that you call element commands on, and it uses under the hood all the WebDriver package protocol commands to execute those APIs. And then lastly, we have the WebDriver as a framework, which is the test runner. Everything that WebdriverIO is with the test runner included, with 𝐒𝐸𝐚𝐫𝐬𝐡, Mocha, Jasmine, with all the services and reporters that are needed, and all the integration to third-party services and providers like Lambdatest. So that's a third pillar, and probably what most people use. Again, WebdriverIO and the WebDriver package are more for like people that build their own automation framework and framework for other people to use. And the CLI, the WebDriver as framework is more used for people that use WebDriver for testing purposes. And you can see this in this example. Here's a script how to execute a simple automation going on the Google page and entering the WebDriver keys into the search field. You see that you have to understand a little bit about the protocol. You need to know this specific key here, which is the reference to the element that is being found. It's a fixed constant that is defined like this in the protocol, and it's not very ergonomic when it comes to building automation script. But it's a very low level thing that you can use, which allows, it's very non-opinionated, so it allows you to do whatever you want with it, right? And that's the goal. Like, it's just basically an HTTP client to the protocol. Then you have WebdriverIO, which comes. You already see the difference, right? The script is a little bit cleaner. There's now commands that are a little bit more opinionated. You see that you can create an element object now, which you can call the click on. You don't have to understand this weird ID anymore. So it's a little bit easier to use, but it comes with some opinion attached to it that you might not like. But it simplifies some things. It also includes things like retries and stuff like that. And then lastly, the CLI, the test runner, is basically its own command line interface that comes with Mocha, Jasmine, or the Mocha or Jasmine or the 𝐒𝐸𝐚𝐫𝐬𝐡 integration, and it allows you to run your test at scale using WebdriverIO. And the project itself, if you go on the WebdriverIO GitHub repository, the project itself has a bunch of subcommands. It has a core project, core packages, the ones that I just described. It has some helper packages that help to run the project, that are integrated, that are usually not used by users. It has reporter packages and service packages, which are the plugins that and there's the runner packages, which one runner package is the one that you are allowed to use to test locally. The other one, we have now a runner package that allows you to do component tests. We have the framework adapters, and they're all in one repository, which is nice because it encapsulates the logic and makes the very big complex WebdriverIO project more easier to understand. Furthermore, we have some additional packages in the same organization repository, which are expect WebdriverIO, our assertion library, Appium and Jasmine boilerplates, and some further packages. The project GitHub structure is a little bit, it looks difficult from the beginning, but once you take a look into these projects, into the folders, they all have their reason and their use case here. The main thing to look at is that all the packages that I just explained are in the packages directory. So you can take a look at there. We have examples to run that help you to develop WebdriverIO. We have end-to-end tests that we run on every commit. And we have our website there for docs. So we keep our documentation connected with the repository. We have some scripts that we use to build the project and to compile the website, and a bunch of further files that are have their own reasoning. We have some flowcharts that you can check out on our websites. They are not complete, and that could be a good first contribution, and something that I do when I start working on a new project that has a complex code base is like, I need to understand how the project works, and I do this by creating my own flowcharts and understand how the code runs. And so someone did that already for WebdriverIO, and I think they can be updated, and that could be a great first contribution. Let's get into the development workflow. WebdriverIO is not a special project in any means. It's a simple or like a basic Node.js setup. So all you need to do is you clone the repository, you go in there, and then you start developing. And the way you can do that is through calling npm install and npm run setup, and that gets you up and going. Npm install will set up install all the dependencies, and npm run setup will, as you can see on the right, will compile the project. Since it is based on TypeScript, it will compile the TypeScript and allows you to get going. And then you should be able to run your tests. We have unit tests that you can run. They are written in using YTest. And we have smoke tests that we use to kind of like run the test runner without having an actual driver in place. So it's like a fake WebDriver tests. But we use them to kind of test the integration from end to end for many use cases. Actually, there are 6 different types of tests that you can find in the repository that we run on every commit that ensure that the project itself stays stable. We have the linting tasks. We have dependency checks. So code linting, I don't think I need to explain that much. It's like static code analysis, verifying that no TypeScript errors are in there, or no the code styles are still adhered to. With dependency checks that check whether or not all the dependency are correctly defined. We verify that the typings are correct. So we have some typing checks that we verify. We test. We have unit tests, as every project you should do. The smoke tests basically do more end-to-end tests with some fake WebDriver endpoints, and we do a bunch of end-to-end tests, which are important to make sure that everything works from end to end. Like our component tests that WebDriver provides, they are tested from end to end, including all the frameworks like Angular, React, Vue, and all the Anglers that WebDriver supports. So we make sure that we don't break anything, which is important. When you get ready, I think there's nothing special to be set up. If you start developing, make sure that your IDE environment is an environment that you feel comfortable developing it. We don't say that you have to use a certain IDE to work on WebdriverIO. You can use the IDE of choice. I prefer using VS Code, as many developers probably do. But if you're using a text editor, that's fine too. In order to start contributing, it's important to watch the files, since you want to have TypeScript automatically recompile the TypeScript files when you do changes. So this is the only command that you should remember. It's like calling npm run watch, and that makes sure that all the TypeScript files are automatically recompiled. When you develop, we provide you a bunch of example cases that are very useful for testing your changes that you're doing. For me, it is important that when I do changes, I can quickly see what they are doing. And all the examples directory is a perfect place to do that. You have the WDIO directory in there, has some some WebdriverIO projects for Mocker, Jasmine, and Cucumber, which you can use when you use any of these projects. And then for other use cases, you can see you find example files for that too. So take a look if there's anything in there that you might find useful for the task that you're working on. You can use that, or you can contribute an example if it helps you developing something specific. You can also just write a simple script. That's what I do sometimes as well, like create a little JavaScript file or TypeScript file in the root of the directory, and then point to the compiled files, and then run a simple script to see if my changes actually do what I want them to do. Let's speak about governance. When you do the contribution, I think when you contribute to open source, I think it's it's important that you get something in return, right? It's kind of free labor, but WebdriverIO is at the point where it can give back, and it's important that we codify how we operate the project, because we want to be transparent to you of what we can offer you as a contributor when you spend your valuable time contributing to your project. And I want to read this, it's a little snippet from the governance file. It says, the WebdriverIO project wants as much as possible to operate using procedures that are fair, open, inviting, and ultimately good for the community. For that reason, we find it valuable to codify some of the ways that the project goes about its day-to-day business. We want to make sure that no matter who you are, you have the opportunity to contribute to WebdriverIO. We want to make sure that no corporation can exert undue influence on the community or hold the project hostage. And likewise, we want to make sure that corporations which benefit from WebdriverIO are also incentivized to give back. I think that's very important, and very something to point out is that, compared to other, big industry projects like Playwright, Cypress, WebdriverIO is openly governed and openly operated. That means that there's no financial interest that could cause WebdriverIO to change its licensing model or to become more strict on pricing or introduce pricing whatsoever. So it wants to be. It stays a free project forever in its eternity, and being part of the OpenJS Foundation also helps with all that. And if you contribute to WebdriverIO, you probably get more return, because WebdriverIO tries to find as many contributors as possible to stay to have a sustainable operation model. In the governance of WebdriverIO, we kind of define 4 different roles. We have users, contributors, project committers, and the technical steering committee. Starting with the technical steering committee, those are the 7 folks that you see here, that all have been being influential to the project at some point in time. Not everyone is very much contributing to WebdriverIO anymore. They still stay on the technical steering committee team until they don't want to be there anymore. But all have been influential enough to be to have a say when it comes to how we want to operate the project and how we want to decide on technical things. But it all starts with a user that uses WebdriverIO. This is the first entry point to the project. Anyone who installs the package, anyone who everyone who uses WebdriverIO or tries it out on their machine, they become WebdriverIO users, and those are important users for us because they often, help us to grow the impact of WebdriverIO across the industry. And we want to get these users to the next role, which is contributors. Contributors is someone who creates an issue, who joins Discord and helps, providing feedback, has an issue and that someone needs help. Those are all contributors because they start engaging to the project. And those people are very important because they help us to find bugs. They help us to, find out, they help us to, see, they are the main core of our community. And some of these contributors, they have a bug and they start contributing by raising a pull request. And with that, they become project committers. Project committers, the contributors and the users, they are all basically, everyone can be that without having to fulfill certain requirements. Becoming project committers gives you a little bit more access to the project. You can triage issues, you can help merge pull requests, you can help on various other sides of the project. You're a more engaged community member at this point. To become a project committer, you have to have 10 qualifying pull requests, which means that you have to have at some point 10 contributions to the project. So pull requests that are more than just like a tweak to some, I don't know, to the docs or something like that. They have to be more impactful than just a fix of a wording or grammar issues, whatever. People that join us as a project committers, we invite them to the project organization. They come, they join our secret Discord, or not secret, but private Discord channel, and they are becoming more involved into the project. It's my job to help everyone to become these project committers because, as more we get from them, as better our project is being run. We also have project committers that are not directly contributing to WebdriverIO, but to a satellite project. Like we have someone who has been working on the Electron service, and he was fully responsible building that service and became project committer to that. So it doesn't need to be on the main core project, but or if you run a project that turns to be very valuable to the WebdriverIO community, and that can be your gateway to become a project commit as well. And like our last role, our like highest role is a technical steering committee membership, which allows you to have like hands-on control on the project. You can help on, or you can have a say when it comes to the technical direction, when it comes to project governance, to contribution policies, and basically you own the WebdriverIO project at this point. To become a TSC member, you need to get 30 qualifying pull requests, which sounds like a lot, but if that can be achieved over time. We have picked these numbers kind of arbitrarily, and those numbers are up to change as we grow in the project. For now, there are 30. It could be like higher, but all our governance rules are not set in stone. So we will change them as a TSC body as we grow in the project and as we have different kind of requirements in the community. Being a TSC member, however, has some very nice attributes into in a second. But one of them is, for instance, you can travel on behalf of the WebdriverIO team to conferences and getting paid to do so. Since we are part of the OpenJS Foundation, if you travel as a TSC member to a conference, you can get that money back from the OpenJS Foundation. Coming to point 4, contributing. Again, I just mentioned a TSC member attribute, but there's a lot of reasons why contributing to WebdriverIO can benefit you. For one, it's good to give back to the community. I think there's a lot of open source projects out there, and we tend to use them only, and instead of taking our time and actually contributing back, because that is important. You can earn cash actually contributing to WebdriverIO. Thanks to companies like Lambdatest who donating to WebdriverIO on a monthly basis, we have some monthly revenue that comes in that we use for project expenses, but also we want to pay maintainers that regularly contribute to the project. And even though our budget is not really high, but it can be a nice little side earning that you can make contributing to the project. By doing so, you will also better understand, obviously, the WebdriverIO framework. So if you use it in your company, it might make sense to contribute back because you will better understand how to use the framework. It also will help you to understand certain limitation when it comes to automation practices, since you will be exposed in how drivers will work and how browsers are being automated in general. You will learn a lot from them. So I got the chance to learn a lot about how Chrome works in underneath the hood, and that has turned out to be very valuable for my career. You can again influence the direction of the project. So if you're part of a bigger corporation that wants to add certain features that it's very important to you to have, being part of the project will help you to get to that, add this feature to the project. In general, it will improve your coding skills. It will give you reputation and will give you leverage in your career. I think a lot of my career has been solely defined on my contribution to WebdriverIO and open source, and have opened a lot of opportunities throughout all my career, which I'm very grateful of, and which is the reason why I keep continuing doing it until I'm turning old. The best part is it's fun, and you meet so many wonderful people. Like contributing to WebdriverIO just didn't help me to meet a lot of WebdriverIO people from the WebdriverIO community, but also helped me to meet a lot of people from the OpenJS Foundation, the Node.js people that contribute to the Node.js core, people that work on the browsers. I got to meet them, and so very important and impactful people from the industry that helped me. I was able to meet and learn from them, and so that's a truly truly valuable thing to have. So I think there's nothing else to say, but there's just a lot of things that you can earn from contributing to an open source project like WebdriverIO. And there's so many ways to do so. I think we're not only looking for code contributions. There's so many things you can provide that become valuable to the project. It can be code, it can be documentation, it can be just by simplifying, help us to translate WebDriver in more languages. We have WebDriver translated into, I think, 7 languages now, and there are 10 to 14 languages where we are working on. And if any of those languages are native to you and you're feeling fluent and confident to help us translate, that's a very valuable contribution, because as we can translate the project into different languages, it helps us to make this project more accessible to the world. You can help us by questioning or answering things on Discord. If you're a designer, you can help us design our docs better, or anything that is UI related that we have in the project. We have also some secret project where we might also need UI help. If you're someone that likes to create educational content, YouTube videos, whatsoever, we created a YouTube channel, and everyone who's happy, to contribute videos to that channel, or just contribute videos to your own channel that have WebDriver as a topic, that's very valuable for us too. Aside from that, just spreading the good word on Twitter, create bugs if you use WebdriverIO, very valuable for us too. And just be, a good citizen to the project, is the bare minimum that helps us to, grow and become a better project overall. Most of the, contributions start with just creating an issue. We have helped everyone by, creating a little template that makes it easy for you to understand what our minimal requirements are. But to bring it to one single factor, I think the most important part is if you, help us to contribute like a reproducible example that helps us to kind of like run the issue for ourselves. I think a lot of issues that we see is that, we see some logs and we see, here's what you need to change to make it possible. But, if we as a maintainers don't have to spend time finding the bug for you, that helps us to easier provide you help, either guide you to provide a bug fix, or come up with a bug fix ourselves, because that's providing reproducible examples makes it very important to reduce the time for us to be valuable to you when you create an issue. And it can be as simple as just going to our WebdriverIO page, especially for finding issues. You click on the issue tab, and then we have a certain amount of labels that can help you, guide you, find good issues for you to start. And One of the good labels I would look out for is things like first timers only or good first pick. Those are issues that are generally very well scoped, and even though they might still sound complicated, they have they are not open-ended. Like they have a finite, like a bug fix has a finite goal to work on, and they kind of like limited in scope, and that's a usually good first start if you want to start with code contributions. But we have a lot of more on our roadmap, and pretty much WebdriverIO, you can see the project as like a green field. And if you're interested in something that you think can be valuable to the project, you can reach out to the maintainers or to the Discord channel and make a suggestion, or as a simple GitHub issue. If it turns out to be valuable for WebdriverIO, I don't see a reason why that doesn't count to be a valuable contribution to the project. But what we have in our roadmap right now are pretty much just ideas that we are floating around, things that we kind of like want to do at some point, but we haven't like really started yet, or there's no incentive yet to start working on it. You can see, we have the auto driver setup at the bottom. That has been around for, I think, years, until we finally, with version 8.15, we finally managed to implement it, like after having this for years in our roadmap. So there's not really like an order here, nor like an ETA for any roadmap item. It's pretty much whoever can contribute things to them, it helps us to move things forward. And then, once you have a simple pull request, you can just follow our template. There's nothing really, any restrictions. We don't do like, we don't validate things like that. Very like, there's not much policies to be aware of. You just create and we can start from there. Who joined us is a being very close to the project and fixing a lot of bugs and things like that. So this one example, how I will usually what happens, I will put a label on the pull request. It will help us to identify what changes, and that will help us in creating our change log. And then I will merge it, and at some point you can, becoming a project committer, you can, merge your own pull request at some point after you get, obviously after you get an approval. And that's, you're not alone on this journey. Contributing to a big project like WebdriverIO can be, a little bit like frightening in the beginning, because there's so much to it. But you're not alone. My first priority is to help people contribute to WebdriverIO. I would do this first, then working on anything else on the project. So if you're looking for help, we have a Slack channel on the Selenium Slack with the WebdriverIO channel name. But our main communication channel is the Discord server, where you can join us. We have a contributing channel there that you can just come by and say, hey, I have some time that I want to spend working on the project, and can you guide me? And then we can take it from there. We also have things like open office hours. Those are meant to help you to meet me or other contributors, TSC members, and they will actively help you in a one-on-one session to get a fix, get a contribution done to WebdriverIO. I've done it a lot of times with a lot of people, and it has been very valuable for us to not only meet the people that contribute to the project, but also get them going. And sometimes you just need one-on-one session with someone to get a solution to a thing, and then from there on you get up and running more quickly for the next office. So if you feel like scared to take on your first issue, assign say that you want to work on this issue, and find a slot in the open office hours, and we can get you going and help you contribute, make your first contribution. With that, let's get started. I think there's nothing much to say. I'm happy to open the floor for question. I hope that was insightful. Again, WebdriverIO is a project that is openly governed, and we're looking for all kinds of contributions from anyone around the world. And as bigger the project can be, as more powerful we can be, and as more incentive we can create for the community to contribute. So that's me enough talking. I'm happy to answer any question for the rest of the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishan. Thank you. That was a very insightful presentation, and a big shout out to you and the WebdriverIO maintainers for keeping it so friendly for the contributor. I think I've not seen any project that offers one-on-one mentorship to the contributors and help them contribute. So thank you. I think most of the answers were covered. A lot of people are interested in making their first contribution, and they were interested in how they can find the good first issues. So I think, as Krishan explained, you can find in the issues tag, and if you are stuck somewhere, you can reach the maintainers out on the Discord server, as well as connect with them in one-on-one meetings. So there are a lot of front-end developers, test automation engineers looking to contribute. I hope your doubts are clear. One question that is asked by Wang is that how WebdriverIO CI/CD pipeline structure, and can I make contributions there?
Oh, of course. So yeah, we are using GitHub Actions for our CI/CD pipeline. I think the pipeline can use a lot of love. It's currently very long. It takes 15 minutes almost to run, and I think applying more parallelism to it can very help us to cut this down to like maybe 5 or 6 minutes. So yeah, we are using GitHub Actions, and I think it's very easy and has turned out for us very well to stay in the GitHub ecosystem. Yeah, we run all our tests in there and deploy, release our package through GitHub Actions and deploy our website through GitHub Actions. And yeah, that's also get contribution points for sure.
Thank you. Are any specific modules or features in WebdriverIO that currently needs attention or are looking for contributors? I think we can go through them through the tags as well. Or Krishan, you can answer it better.
Yeah, let me see if I can, maybe go. Can I go out here? What do you see now? Okay, perfect. Maybe we could just go through it. I mean, let me go to the WebdriverIO project. So from the packages, yeah, perfect. So yeah, right now, yeah, the packages that need attention here, I cannot point anyone specific. We get a lot of issues for Allure Reporter, but we have two great maintainers that work on that. We have the Browser Stack service, which is maintained by the folks from Browser Stack. We have there's nothing really pops to mind that needs special attention there, but there are so many projects that we have, not only here on the core organization. They always have open issues like WDR wait for. It's a little plugin that has two issues open where you can start contributing to. But I want to point your attention to 1 second. Can I change the page? I want to point your attention to another organization we have called WebdriverIO Community, which is an organization we built for the community. So we have absorbed a lot of community packages into here, so we can streamline the release of the packages. And there are a bunch of packages here that definitely need attention. Like our service for testing VS Code extension needs some attention because it's kind of some work to keep that maintained. We have the drivers are usually fine, but we have like a Gmail service that helps you to connect to Gmail that can help have some better, like that can have some issues fixed. So take an eye on this community organization too. And if you have if you see a WebdriverIO ecosystem project, like a reporter that is not in like a portal or service that is not in this organization, like owned by someone privately and doesn't seem to be maintained, if you are a person who likes to bring this into the community and like revamp the project to work on the latest WebdriverIO, that could be a great contribution as well.
Thank you, Christian. Just one last question is, how can I start with making non-technical contributions to the project?
Yes, so non-technical contribution, there are various of ways you can do that. Again, when I think about non-technical contribution, I would firstly think about our documentation, obviously. So we have our website here where you can see our docs, and they're written by me, and I'm not the best person speak. Like, I speak English, but my grammar is probably not the best. So there are probably a lot of issues, or just generally how we structure the documentation that can be improved. I mentioned before we have a way to translate the project. So if you want to translate the project in any of these languages, or the ones that even are not in here, we're using Crowdin as a platform. And all you need to go to translate.webdriver.io. And that brings you to this page. And we have also an open issue. If one of the languages are not in here, you can just comment on the issue there. I think we have it somewhere here. If you just Google, or if you just search for translate, you can filter for issues, and then we have this issue, help us translate the WebdriverIO website. And then you see that people are commented like, can you add Belarusian or Japanese? And I will enable the language, and then we can start contributing there. Obviously, the WebdriverIO website looks great, but if you have any like design ideas or things how the website can be different structured, that could be great. If you run, we can even go so far and say, if you want to run community events, if you are out there and you say you want to run a WebdriverIO event with having 2 speakers speaking on WebdriverIO, we can even fund you for that. We can even pay you for the pizza using the funds that we have for the project. Doing the evangelism is also something that we are happy and very much appreciate if people would help us do that.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you so much for showing us around. I hope a lot of people will be motivated and looking to make their first contribution or contribute further. I have shared the Discord community link in the chat. So if you are interested or looking to connect with Christian and the maintainers and the community, please do join the Discord link. Thank you. That's about it. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Christian, for the wonderful presentation. And once again, thank you for WebdriverIO's maintainers community for making it so easy for contribution.
Thank you, Spars, and thank you, Lambdatest, for doing these events. Very, very awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all, and have a nice day.